We're live. Hi, and welcome to Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and today I am here with 2019 Grabby Awards performer, porn star, and OnlyFans content creator Michael Roman. How you doing today, sexy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good.
Awesome.
Work. So, where are you originally from?
I'm born and raised in beautiful Ohio.
Yeah,
I live in Cleveland now, but I'm from Youngstown. It's about an hour south of here. So
yeah. As I was telling you before, I'm born and raised Floridian. I live in South Florida. I'm at home now. I live about an hour north of West Palm Beach.
mm.
The only time I've been away from this area, I lived in Orlando for 4 years, which
Not,
was nice.
you liked it better than South Florida?
The thing I liked about Orlando is that, like, yes, it sucks during the summer because it's hotter than South Florida, but during the winter, it gets like cold.
Yeah. I'm a Disney person, so I could be in Orlando all the time.
See, my thing is, as I said, the Orlando I left is not what it is now. Because
Yeah.
like they used to have like a somewhat, well, I wouldn't say a huge gay scene, but they had like a decent gay scene.
Oh yeah, I've worked there many times. I loved it.
Wait, so you've worked in Orlando before?
Oh yeah, I used to work at Parliament House all the time before they
That's
tore.
where I used to perform. Yeah,
Yeah, I loved it. I worked with
yeah,
Addie.
yeah. Once Parliament House closed down, I'm like, okay, if there was any chance of me moving back to Orlando, none now. Like,
Yeah. That's I pretty much now I just go to Southern Nights when I'm there, and I'm like, there's not many other places to go.
yeah, because there's Southern Nights, there's Savoy, and then they just opened.
I have been to Savoy. That's
Yeah,
that's fine. That's different.
they just opened a bar. I know a couple of the Go-Go Boys that work there called Stiffies.
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I think it's only been open for like 3 or 4 months.
Huh.
It's actually, I will say this, it is kind of cool looking because like inside of the bar, they're like all of it is like lit red and it's like
Yeah.
dark, so it kind of looks kind of cool.
Huh. I'm going in a couple months. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, as I said, I think, where is it? I think it's on like Bumby Avenue. It's somewhere in there. As I
I'll,
said, I've never been there, but
I'll
like,
find it. My
yeah.
ass will get drunk and stumble around and find everything.
So, what was it like for you growing up as a kid?
um, God, I had such a blessed, lucky childhood. I'm I do have a twin brother, but we're the youngest of four kids. And I don't know, it was pretty normal. I played football, did track and cross country, basketball. Both my parents are very much in my life. They're still married. I pretty much go there every weekend to see them and my siblings and all my nieces and nephews. So, I mean, I don't know. I always said like, oh, if you go on a reality TV show, you have to have like a sob story or something. I'm like, I would have nothing. I'm blessed. So I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, if you do a reality show, they'll find stuff like
I don't think you could find anything in my life. I'm slightly blind.
they
That's
literally have to like
that.
make up a story for
Yeah.
you. Like,
And then then when I do like complain, I start to think like, God damn, you're quit bitching. You're lucky with the things you have in your life. So
well, I mean, I could think of one show where you wouldn't have to have like that much of a backstory, like, and it's a gay show. It's called For the Love of Dilfs. That's like probably like the only one where like you wouldn't have to have a substantive story
yeah,
because
or like Fire Island.
yeah, yeah. Like I've met a few people from that show, and it's like you almost learn nothing about them on the show, and then all of a sudden I got them here for like 2.5 hours, or I interview them more than once, and it's like now you get to see their story because
Yeah. What is the show called? I never heard of it.
it's called For the Love of Dilfs. It's on Out TV.
Oh, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, I will say they're in season 2 now. I haven't watched this week's most recent episode, but
Yeah.
I don't know. This is like weird because like everyone thinks, oh, season one's a shows usually suck. I think season one was better than this season. That's just
Yeah. I'm such a reality TV person. I'm sure I would love every second of it.
so for me growing up as a kid, like as I said, it's pretty normal too. Like I did the sports stuff, which I hated,
Did you?
obviously. Yeah. Well, my thing was, I think it was like in high school, my mom really, really, really wanted me to do football. And I tried it for like a season and I'm like, no, fuck this. I want to be a singer. Like, because
Yeah.
I'm a musician. That's what I do in drag. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather do that. Like, I actually have the talent to
Yeah.
sing. I don't have any talent for football. Like,
Football in Florida would be miserable too.
of
With
course.
the heat and the bugs and
And I remember what was it? One of the coaches was like a vice principal and he saw me, it's like, oh, are you coming back next season? I'm like, no. No fucking way. Like
yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed the sport doing sports, but it's like by my senior year and then going into college, I'm like, I'm not going to be a pro. I'm not going to make money doing this. So I kind of just want to enjoy my college experience and not be an athlete. But I got scholarships, so I had to keep doing it. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. So I kind of stuck it out. But I didn't mind in high school and middle school. But by college, I was kind of done with it.
yeah, I mean, I say at least for me. This actually my next question is what was it like for you coming out? But it's like I feel like I didn't really start to know who I was till like my like early to mid 20s.
That's me too. Yeah, I think I came out when I was 25, and I wasn't with a guy for the first time until I was like 22. And I dated girls all through college, and then I went to Vegas and just got drunk one night and hooked up with literally the first guy who gave me attention because I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I didn't do it again for like another year or two. And then I met my husband, and I came out when I met my husband. And I said to my sister-in-law, I said, Tiffany, does everyone think I'm gay? Because I just kind of like feeling her out, you know? And she's
Yeah.
like, no, nobody thinks you're gay. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm like, well, I am. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, everyone knows you can come out. I'm like, thanks, Tiffany. So I just did it and it was easy. I really didn't, my parents didn't have any problems. My mom's only problem was I have family in West Virginia and she was just worried about what they were going to think because she's like, I swear to God, I'll kill them if they say anything bad about you.
Yeah.
So that was the only hard part was that pretty much. But yeah, it was. Then I married my husband right away and been together since.
Wow. See, I would say I did have a little bit of my problem with my coming out. Family was not the issue. So I say in some ways I was a little bit fortunate because I only had to come out to one parent because I came out 4 months after my mom died. So I was only having to come out to like my dad, and then I have an older sister. My older sister was super accepting. I found out why. She just came out a few months ago. So it's like
Oh wow.
so I'm like, okay, so that's why.
Yeah, you made it easier for her.
And that was the thing. And what was it? Derek asked me, he's like, so what was it like for her coming out to you? I'm like, no. She didn't come out to me. I went on Facebook, saw she was posting queer stuff, and all of a sudden she had her maiden name again, and I just put two and two together.
Yeah. Oh man.
But I mean, it was all good. So yeah, so the person I shouldn't have come out to, I came out to youth minister of the church.
Oh.
I told him about this performance idea I had with a knife and how I'd practice stabbing myself because I'm dramatic, obviously.
Yeah.
And he left the room. He came back in about 10 minutes later. He said, "Okay, you have one of two options. Either you're coming with me or I'm calling the cops." In hindsight, I would have let him call the cops.
Where'd he take you?
He took me to get a psych eval.
Oh my god.
They had told me I had passed it, but my theory is he didn't like the fact that I had passed it
Yeah.
because then all of a sudden I remember I was like calling my dad who had to come to this hospital to pick me up. I'm like, yeah, just come pick me up. Whatever. And then all of a sudden I had a cop yell at me. He's like, get off the phone. I'm like, and
Damn.
then they just stuck me in a hospital room. And for 5 hours,
Wow.
they left me in a hospital room. They didn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they basically told me they did what's called in Florida Baker acting, which is essentially when they put you on a 72-hour suicide hold.
Uh-huh.
And then it was about, I want to say like 3 hours later that they took me in an ambulance to a mental institution where I had to spend 64 hours.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ugh. Well,
And then,
yeah, that's not a pleasant experience. I'm sorry.
yeah, thank you. His excuse was I was suicidal. But then after I got out, he set me up with a therapist who did the old classic trick of pray the gay away.
Well,
The old classic trick that works exactly 0% of the time.
yeah. At least, too bad they didn't send you to gay camp. Every gay kid's dream.
See, that's the I would have loved.
I would have loved it too.
Yeah. I've been like, some people say like those like gay camps. I'm like, I wish I had had that.
Yeah.
They stuck me in a room with a woman. Like,
Oh. Yeah. No thanks. Oh man.
but as I said, I'm like, the way I view it as like as an artist, like as a musician, if I didn't have like a little bit of a tortured past, I wouldn't be able to create or shit didn't happen to me. I wouldn't be able to create.
Yeah, you pull from your life experiences.
Yeah. That's why, like, do people say, do you ever regret? Because I've also been raped and sexually assaulted, and people sometimes say, like, do you regret anything that's happened to you? No, I needed all of it to like put into my music. That's why, like, the reason I'm planning on moving to Detroit is because I have like literally a whole album written, and it's like I figure I move to Detroit. It's gonna be nice and cheap to live. I'm gonna be able to afford to actually make this album without going broke.
Yeah. That is one of the nice things about living up here.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like that's why it's like yes, I would have to deal with winter, but it's like versus paying $600 a month for an apartment, $700 a month for an apartment.
Mhm.
That sounds a lot better to me.
Yeah. And the winter's only like 8 months of the year, so.
Exactly, and it's like,
You know, we've been having very, very mild winters though. They haven't been that bad. So.
and plus like theoretically there's climate change, so by the time I get up next winter there probably won't be a winter, so it's like,
Oh no, there's still. We don't get the snow we used to get up here, but we still get the like negative 40-degree wind chills and all that fun stuff.
that's why I will say this, like, this is just proof that maybe I might do okay. The whole like winter we had in Florida, I didn't even like when it was like in the 40s, I was wearing like a t-shirt
Yeah,
out all the time. Like I didn't feel like cold hardly at all. I'm like,
it'll be we'll have like a blizzard. It'll be like 10 degrees out, and I will go to the bar in this shirt. And everyone's like, "Aren't you freezing?" I'm like, "I've lived here my whole life. I don't care." You'll get used to it.
yeah. It's like I have to like, this is the thing where some people like they're like, "You're a bigger guy." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm a drag queen, which means I've literally because I like wear like no clothing and drag, like I've pretty much had to shave all my body hair. So
Yeah.
it's like there's nothing to really keep me warm besides the fat. There's no like
You'll do well.
yeah. As it well as also at least from what Derek told me, you all are like welcoming in the middle of the country. That is not how it is here.
Yeah. It's I've worked at a bunch of the bars up in Detroit, and they're very friendly people. The queens are extremely friendly because I've gone to bars where there's like queens and they're nasty to you and they don't talk to you and they're mad that you're on their on their turf. But Detroit, they've always been like super welcoming, super nice. They have a great gay scene. So
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy it.
And that's the thing. That's why, like, in my area, I don't perform much because it's like I have my drag sister who, like, she was very accepting me. The rest of the queens, as I say, they don't like the fact that, like, they could do their cute little, like, 1-2 numbers and I can do 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. Like a performance, yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
It,
in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm like, sorry, y'all suck.
yeah, get a talent.
Exactly. So, what made you? Actually, I'll rephrase this. What made you want to get into porn?
Oh God. Do you know what's funny is when I was in high school, I used to always tell my friends, I was like, I want to be a porn star when I'm older. And they all made fun of me because I was the skinniest, scrawniest little twink in the world. Like I was a cross country runner, I was a track runner. I think I'm like 6'3". I weighed like
No.
140 pounds. And then after college, I dated this guy in Columbus, and he broke up with me and told me I wasn't muscular enough for him. So true gay form. So I started like working out like crazy and doing all the legal stuff, and I got big. And then
Yeah.
I went to school to be a teacher. So I was a high school teacher for about 10 years, and so I was just starting my 11th year of high school teaching, and I hated it. I was so sick of it. It was the same thing every year. And I told my husband, I was like, I can't do it. I don't think I can do another year of this. Like I hate parents. I hated the administration. And literally like I just had like a Instagram where I just posted like thirst trap stuff. Nothing too scandalous. And
Yeah.
someone messaged me right at the beginning of the school year and they're like, would you be interested to coming out to California and filming a porn? And I'm just like, oh, I've always wanted to be a porn star. And I was just not in the right headspace. And so I did it. So I flew out on a Friday. I filmed my first scene. And then I went into work Monday morning and quit. So yeah, it was one of those things where it's like they're like, well, why you can't quit? It's the middle of the school year. And I'm like, I went to LA and filmed a porn this weekend. And they're like, okay, we'll let you quit. But they actually were kind of cool about it. They're like, can you at least stay on until we can find your replacement? And so they tried to find my replacement, and it was like 2 weeks had passed, and they weren't able to. And I got booked for like my next scene, which was in Spain. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I gave you guys 2 weeks. I said I've got to shoot in Spain. I'm gonna go. So I went, and it just kind of took off from there, and just never looked back. So I loved it.
Yeah. See, I can. Well, obviously, I can't like completely get that, but it's like I could not imagine like my straight edge job. It's like constantly like being committed to just like a straight edge job. I have one. I have one now because unfortunately, being a performer doesn't pay. I wish it did.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's like, yeah, 10 years. I could not do a job 10 years. The longest I've lasted somewhere is just like 3.5. Like,
That's how I feel like I go through like 5-year phases. Because in my teaching career, I did teach at one spot for 5 years. Then I switched to a new school, and I'm like, okay, there's my 5-year mark. It was like high school, college, 5 years,
yeah,
5 years teaching, and then I started the porn thing. And even 5 years into porn, I started getting like, oh, I'm getting bored with this. So it's like I kind of like got to grow out of it because I'm running out of options of things I can do.
I
But
mean, I kind of get that. Like, mine's been like 4, because like when I lived in Orlando, I was in Orlando for 4 years.
mhm.
I'm now approaching. I should have left a year ago. I didn't know where I wanted to move. Well, this is the thing. I originally wanted to move to Atlanta,
Mhm.
which would have been great until the economy went to shit, and then like
Yeah.
all of a sudden everything just went up, and I'm like, well, now I can't afford to live in Atlanta. So that's when Detroit became a viable option. As I said, like
Yeah.
this area. Let me put it this way: this is the area where everything except for bars close at 11 p.m.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't do that. I'm a big fan. I love Fort Lauderdale and Miami because they're open so late and everything's so fun.
Yeah.
I can't do the. I go out at like 11 o'clock. But
See, my thing is like if I like Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is actually like where when I do go out, I go out. Actually, no, I will say this. I only show up to places if I know people who are performing. I won't show up anywhere if I don't. Like,
yeah,
that's my thing. What was it? My like friends with benefits who's around here was literally like, because we had been like fooling around for years, and then all of a sudden, like a few months ago, I just started going down to Fort Lauderdale. He's like, I have been asking you for all these years to come with me to Fort Lauderdale, and he's like, now you want to go? I'm like, yeah, now I know people.
yeah.
Like,
I think it's the funnest city for gay life. I like it better than West Hollywood. I like it better than Chicago. I think it's so fun, but I'm also in that daddy era age that fits that neighborhood.
West Hollywood. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, no, I put my opinion on here. I haven't set foot in LA once, but I think I know enough about LA where I've said LA is fucking garbage. Like,
I love Los Angeles, but it's just, I don't know. I don't like the flight out there. It's too long, and then it is just needlessly expensive for crap. You know, like $22 a drink at the bar. It's insane. It's I don't know.
that's probably why I haven't gone. Well, this is the reason I haven't gone on vacations much when I say why I want to get out of Florida, because people are like, it's like, do you know how long it takes to get out of Florida? Florida is fucking huge. Like,
Yeah,
I haven't flown in a while. I used to do back and forth. I used to drive back and forth to Atlanta at one point,
yeah. It's I don't.
and that
I much prefer driving.
yeah, but that's like that's like a 10 to 12 hour drive. Like,
That's I kind of live in like the perfect location where if I want to go somewhere, I can usually drive. But because I'm terribly afraid of airplanes, but I take enough like Xanax to get on the plane and get through it.
yeah,
I panic, I cry, I hate them. But if I go to Florida, I have to. It's so far. But I literally
right.
way between Chicago and New York, so I can get to New York in 6 hours. I can get to Chicago in 5 hours, Toronto in 5 hours. So it really is a good location because I can just drive to all those places. But we have such cheap flights to Fort Lauderdale. That's why I go so much. Like I was looking for next weekend. It was like $20 to fly down to Fort Lauderdale. Because like you can't beat that.
Wow, that tw- $20. Damn.
$20. Like it was like $23. My Uber to the airport would cost more than the flight. So I might be down there next weekend. We'll see.
As I said, I keep telling people I'm gonna go back down at some point, because this is the thing where it's like, I don't know. You do okay. So when you do like Chicago for 5 hours, you probably spend like a weekend in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like that's what I tell people. Somebody, one of the promoters I know down in Fort Lauderdale, he's like he's telling me he told me about all these events you do on Sunday. I'm like I work a real job. I work Monday through Friday. I can't go down on Sunday when I have to be to work at 8 a.m. Monday morning. Like I
Yeah.
wish I could do it, but
How far is it?
from where I'm at,
Like
it's
2 hours?
about an hour and a half.
That's not too
Hour
bad.
and a half. Yeah, I mean it's not too bad, but it's like
But you're not going to do it on a Sunday night after a performance.
no,
Yeah.
no, that's my thing. Where it's like if I do it, I'm gonna go down like Friday night or Saturday night
Yeah.
or like Saturday afternoon because I'm also the person where it's like when I like check into a hotel, I want to be down there at 3 p.m. because it's like if you're gonna start charging me for 3 p.m., I
That's
want
how.
to be and it's like I will stay in that hotel room till 10:59. Like
Yeah, me too. Have you
and
performed
especially
in Fort Lauderdale?
what
Have you performed in Fort Lauderdale yet?
I have not. This thing. I don't know anybody. Like
Yeah.
that's why like with Detroit that openness, I'm working with. Okay, I'm gonna spill an exclusive here. So I am working with Whitney Naomi to try and like set up an interview.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like that'll make it easier to go to Detroit if I know somebody
Yeah, for sure.
because it's like. But in terms of like Fort Lauderdale, I don't know anybody. Like because when I moved back here, I tried to do so like how I got my start was I in Orlando. I actually started performing in straight bars. So like
Hmm.
and I used to do like the open mic scene. So it's like when I finally shifted over to the gay bars, I had to start all over again.
Yeah.
And I kind of was always on the outskirts because again, as I was mentioning, you were like Detroit's very welcoming. Florida is not that way. Like Florida's like if you don't know the right person,
Yeah.
we're gonna like leave you on the outside. It doesn't matter how talented you are because
Hmm.
it's like I've seen plenty of acts and like especially like this area when I see like the drag queens in me, like except for my drag sister, love her. It's like I see the rest of these people, I'm like y'all are lucky that you're not in Florida because y'all or in Orlando because y'all would like never survive. Like they would eat you up and chew you up alive.
Yeah.
Like
There's some talented queens out there. I sometimes I think that I'm like, huh, she's gotta she's gotta step up her game a bit. But
yeah, and
you know,
it's
there's
like
different things for different folks though. So
no, and it's yeah, and it's like granted I look at like my thing is if you can't do the flips and you can't do the splits because there's some people who just like physically can't do it.
yeah.
Like then you better be able to put on a show. And it's like that's my drag sister. My drag sister has had like all sorts of like back problems and like all this because like she's like, but that bitch can put on a fucking show when she needs to. And I'm like, that's why like she gets booked down in Fort Lauderdale and Miami and all that. And I'm like, and like she did it all on her own. And I'm like, well, sis, nobody understands that more than I do. I started this podcast with like no connections, and I literally just like knocked on the doors of people, hoping that like people would want to interview with me. And it's
Yeah.
like,
That's what you gotta do though. You gotta put in the time, put in the work, and people are willing to do stuff. You just gotta ask them. So like what you should do is when I go to new cities, I'll message all the bars that are in that city. I'll look up all the gay bars and be like, hey, I'm a porn star. Do you need any go-go dancers? I'm going to be in town these dates. And a lot of the time they'll just be like, yeah, sure. You can come in and dance and you can come go. And then you make connections. And then they do have special events. They call you. They're like, hey, any chance you're going to be in town and could do this?
right.
So,
I mean, that is it. That's why, like, as I said, with people, they're like, because that point that you said, it's like, when I've gotten to Go-Going, when I've gotten both winners of Go-Go for the gold, people are like, and I think I'm like one of the only podcasts who's been able to get both of them. They're like, how did you do it? I'm like, I asked them, well, it's asking people and being persistent. Because like,
Yeah.
there are lots of times I literally just got an interview on Wednesday with somebody because I was on this person's ass to like, because the thing was they agreed to the interview, and then all of a sudden months and months went by and we weren't planning a date. So I just kept on messaging them
Yeah.
till we planned a date. Like that's how you have to be. That's what I would tell people. It's like if you feel like you're cyber stalking somebody when they can't make a date, you're doing it right.
Right. As long as it gets done. Now I remember I was in New have you ever been to Southern Decadence, New Orleans?
No.
Okay. So there's every Labor Day there's a huge fat gay festival. It's called Southern Decadence. And I was working at a bar called the Phoenix there. And I wasn't working that night, so I went to the big gay club, Oz. And the line was like down the street. And I'm like, I am not waiting for this line. And it was like $50 a person again. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I went up to the front door and I was just like, I'm interested in go-go dancing here. Can I talk to the manager? And so they're like, oh, yeah. So they go and get this guy. He comes up. He starts talking to me. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm just interested in go-go dancing here. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll take your number down. And then he like just took my number down. And I was like, oh, by the way, can I just get in like for free tonight? He's like, oh, yeah, sure. Go on in. I was just being cheap and didn't want to wait in line. So I got in, and then just thinking nothing of it. I had no intentions of go-go dancing there. Then like the next day he called me. He's like, hey, would you want to come go-go dance? So then they ended up booking me for 4 years straight for Mardi Gras and for Decadence. And it was like the best connection I've ever made because I love that club. It was literally just me being cheap and not wanting to pay. But it worked.
Of course, that is what they call hot person privilege.
Yeah.
Like
I always try to pull stuff like that. I was where was I? I was at a circuit party, I think San Diego or somewhere, and I went in and there was a VIP entrance, and I go up and I'm like, I'm on the VIP list, and they're like, oh, we don't see you here, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be on it, and I'm like, never mind, I'm gonna call my agent because I was supposed to be on it, so I always call my husband, and he knows to pretend to be my agent, and so I call him, I'm like, hey, I'm not on the list, and he's like, just like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, they didn't put me on the list, and then he like caught on. And I was like, what's your name? And the kid's like, no, it's okay. You're good. Just go on in.
yeah.
Anytime you ask for someone's name, they know they're going to get in trouble. So they're just like, okay, it's cool. Just go in.
See, that was the thing where it's like, I was talking to my best friend who also lives around here, and he's like talking about how he's had to go into bars in like Fort Lauderdale. And he's like, every time he talks about this place where he's like had to pay a cover. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you're going to the wrong place because I've never had to pay a cover when I've been in Fort Lauderdale. Like,
the Manor always has a cover.
Yeah, that's where he's talking about. I'm like, yeah, well, actually, no. This is the thing, and I read this on their website. If you're an out-of-state person, there's a cover.
Yeah.
If you live in the state of Florida, you get to go in for free.
So I was working. Have you ever been to Johnson's across the street, the strip club?
I have not. I've walked past Johnson's.
Okay. Johnson's is amazing. They got the hottest guys. I love Johnson's. I love the owner. I was working there one night, and I did something I wasn't supposed to do. And so the owner's like, Michael, I gotta fire you. And I'm just like, okay, it's okay, whatever, fine. He's like, you're not mad at like, I'm like, no, it's cool. I'm ready to go anyways. So I left, and I had all this money that I made, and all my friends were there watching. So we went across the street to the Manor, and
yeah,
I had all the cash, and they only take cash. And I literally didn't even put clothes on. I walked across the street in my underwear and a backpack, and I paid for like 10 people to get in. It was like $5, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was the last one to go through, and they're like, you can't go in like that. And I'm like, there's people dancing in there in their underwear, and they're like, no, you can't bring the backpack in.
What?
Why can't I bring the fucking backpack in? I was like, okay, can I leave it here at the front? They're like, no. I'm like, I just paid for 10 people to get in. You're not going to let me in? And they're like, you can't take it in here. So I didn't even care. I took my book bag and I threw it out into the middle of Wilton Drive. And I'm like, all right, I'm good. And they're like, you can't put your book bag, you can't just throw your book bag in the middle of the street. I'm like, it's not your responsibility. It's in the middle of the street. Who cares? And it turned into this huge fight, and I got a fist fight, and grabbed my bag and stormed down the street and went to the Eagle instead. But it's like
Because yeah,
ridiculous. Like I paid a stupid $5 cover. Like, let it go. The club's not that good that you have to pay a cover charge.
that must be like a manner thing. Because it's like anytime, because like I am not a purse queen, so it's like how I carry my shit around is I have this like tiny little backpack
Yeah,
that I put my like wallet, my phone, my keys, my makeup, my like travel makeup bag, and like, but it's small. It's like I've gotten into Pub of the Drive with no problem.
yeah,
I've gone to Hamburger Mary's no problem. Like nobody's looked at me twice. And if they did look at me and say that you couldn't bring a backpack, this would be my response. Since when has a drag queen gone to shoot up the club?
yeah. So it is. It's so. I think a lot of part of it is people sneak alcohol in. It's like, come on, who cares? But
That's the thing in Miami. That's why I don't like going out to Miami, because I know that's like a thing. They're like they don't like backpacks to any size. It's like come on now.
you know, it is bad in Miami. Those pickpockets. If you have a backpack, people are real good at stealing things out of it. Like every time I go to Twist in Miami, like all the bouncers are like, keep your cell phone in your hands. Don't put them in your pockets. Or your wallet. You will get pickpocketed here. So I guess maybe they're looking out for you, but I think it's stupid. But to each their own. It's not
Yeah.
my bar.
So okay. So what was it like for you on your first shoot?
God, I actually I enjoyed it. We filmed in a park in Los Angeles, and it was called Straight Chaser, and I was like this straight guy in the park, and straight guy.
Yeah.
uh, some guy comes up to me and starts offering me money. It was like a POV, like the cameraman is like handing me money to make me do things. He's like, I'll give you $20 if you do 10 push-ups, and like I'll give you 20 more if you take your shirt off. And then it ends up like I'm broke and need the money, so I end up going back to the hotel with him. And the whole scene is just him like with the camera, like all point of view, like me blowing him and then me getting banged by him, and he keeps throwing money on top of me while it's happening. But I enjoyed it. It's called Straight Chaser. It was part of the company's called Mind Geek. They own like Men.com and Sean Cody and all those companies. So it was popular, and it got my foot in the door with pretty much all the other studios. So, but it was fun. I got to see LA for the first time, and yeah,
See, I'm not familiar with that one. I am familiar with that like style of porn. The one that I've watched with that style is the one where like they have the gay guy and then like all of a sudden they go to like the thug looking black guy and like offer to pay him money to have like sex with him. Like
oh, that's
I've
yeah,
seen
fun. Yeah, I remember those.
those. Yeah.
See, I think because I was new and because I can pull off the is he straight? Is he gay? That's kind of like where they start you, and then you can go into then they move you to like the Men.com and all those other mainstream ones, but they try to get those bait ones out of you first, because I did bait bust before too, but I did it so late in my career that everyone's like, this is stupid, and we all know he's gay, like he's had sex with like half the country. So,
Well, yeah, it's like it's also the another stupid company because it's like all of a sudden you find out like once the guys either like leave or like in their process of like leaving is like broke straight boys. It's like I literally know of at least like three different guys who like came out after they left.
yeah, so it is what it is, but it got me my start. Then my next one was when I went to Spain with Lucas Entertainment. So that was just a completely different experience. We stayed in a mansion for a week, 2 weeks. I was in Spain, just filming every day. It was fun. We had a cook and like all kinds of crazy stuff. Um, that was a fun shoot. So But then they're just all over the board. Sometimes they take like 12 hours. Sometimes they take like 2 hours. It just depends on who you're working with and how quick and how good the chemistry is. If you can get it done quick, but yeah, I love it. I think it's so much fun.
See, I've heard of the like 12 hours because at least from what I know, well, you're telling me something different. Like in general, I thought that like most porns filmed long days. So it's like,
It's like if you do the big studios, like
yeah,
the men.coms and stuff like those, they spend a lot of time on the actual like acting part and like really getting like filming that part good. And then they do so many different camera angles of the same position. It ends up taking really long. Like my longest one was one I did for Naked Sword, and it was a like I was a flight attendant, and it was we actually went to the airport and filmed, and like that took a long time. But like when you do the kind of like seedier, like Raw Fuck Club, Treasure Island, like you just get in there and you bang it out, and they just videotape you doing it, and you're done in. I've had a shoot done in 45 minutes before. So
wow, that seems.
yeah, it depends on who you're working with. So you do usually get paid more for those longer ones, but
Well, I mean, I'd hope so. Like, you're literally, if you're working 12 hours, you should get paid more than if you're working 45 minutes.
yeah,
Uh,
some people pay by some studios pay by the shoot, some people pay by the day. So it's like if you got $1,000 for the shoot and it's done in 45 minutes, you get your $1,000. If they
yeah,
$8,000 by the day, they have you the whole day. So
yeah. So, as I gonna say, oh, my first time performing. So, actually, as I was saying before, I have like the odd experience of like starting drag and performing in straight bars, which is like some people say like most gay people are like shocked by that. I'm like, listen, I started. That's why like in terms of me being able to do like longer sets, it's because working in a straight bar, it's like it's already like in like a set of like bros who are sitting there playing their like guitars.
yeah,
Like I'm sitting there like I make electronic music, so it's like I'm sitting there with like an iPod thumping these beats through like this tiny little bar and like singing and screaming my heart out, and I'm like getting like that. And overall, the crowd likes me for the most part.
hmm
Owners were cool with me except for one night. So like one night I had ended one of my sets by like screaming motherfucker into the microphone. And then the next week I came back and the owner's like, yeah, don't do that. There's old people in the audience this week. I'm like, so kick them the fuck out. Like I'm at a bar. Like I'm not allowed to fucking swear.
yeah,
Seriously? They got on everyone. They got on a comedian. They're like, he had this joke about this like stripper sliding down like a stripper pole with their pussy. They're like, yeah, don't do that joke either. I'm like, you're telling us what the fuck are we supposed to do then? Like if
yeah.
we can't like do our
It's
that's
the majority of it. It's funny because the majority of the drag brunches we have here in Cleveland are
yeah.
they're almost all straight bars. Like our gay bars don't cater that much to it. And then like even when our gay bars do have drag shows, the majority of the audience is straight women. So like we have a club in Akron, it's called Inner Belt, and they pay big bucks and they bring in like every RuPaul girl imaginable.
Yeah.
And the place is just packed wall to wall, but it's all straight women for the most part. On a regular night, it's all gay men. They have like sex parties sometimes, but if it's a RuPaul's drag queen night, it's all straight women. So it's like that's it is your audience just as much as gay men now, with how mainstream it's becoming. But um, it's just different than what it used to be. But
See,
the
that's
editing is just insane. Like
yeah.
let them perform.
And it's like it's why I know how to like work a room and do this. That's why like somebody said this what was it? Somebody pointed out that this probably doing this is harder than working a bar. It's like It's like, I know that. Like, it's like nobody gave me a shot, but it's like it's because they, especially around here, they'd rather give it to like the same, because this is how small the drag scene is around here. Literally the same, like 4 to 5 drag queens perform every event, and like nobody else is allowed in. And it's like,
That's it's kind of the way Cleveland is where I live. There's about 6 queens, and they run every bar. And I think they're very well. They're I would say like 4 of them are some of my best friends. Uh,
yeah,
they're very welcoming people. They would love to have other queens. The problem is the bars don't pay enough money to get other queens in, you know? And it's like they want to try to get other people in, but they kind of have a grab on it. So they're not going to give up their spot for new queens because they need to make their money. But it's like they would gladly have people if the bars would just pay more, but they don't. And it's kind of like our gay bar scene here is kind of sad with what they pay performers. And we don't even have like go-go dancers in Cleveland. Our gay bar,
really,
they don't let to take your shirt off at our gay bar. It's,
that's insane.
it's
Like,
crazy. I've been kicked out so many times for taking my shirt off. But
well, shit. No wonder you gotta go to Detroit to fucking work. Like,
yeah, that's
if
like I'm sure you talked to Derek. There's not many
yeah,
there are no opportunities in Cleveland. We have to go to Columbus. We have to go to Detroit. I go to West Virginia a lot, but there's no opportunities for go-go dancers in Cleveland. It's it's kind of sad. So we've tried,
which,
but
but it's like, why wouldn't you want that? Like, granted, that taking off the shirt thing is insane. I will say, the one thing that I do like that Derek told me about that is kind of like a rule wherever he's performed, it's like, and to me it makes sense. It's like that all go-go boys have to wear like thongs when they're performing. I'm like, that's literally the only way it should be, because it's like I get it. Jock straps look great. They look amazing on people.
yeah,
You got motherfucking assholes who are gonna try and finger you. So it's like that's why you have to wear a thong. It's like,
yeah. I've noticed the only time I've ever had to wear a thong is if because I've worked at like fully nude places, but
yeah.
the only time I've noticed that they make you wear a thong is if they serve food, which again I understand, but it's I like the way a thong looks on me anyways. So
Yeah. And it's like, the thing is, if people are like, oh, but we need jock straps, they make jock thong combos. Like, so it's like you can get exactly what you want out of like a jock strap.
yeah,
Still don't feel covered. It's
we
you're
had a
covered.
we threw a party. Me and Derek worked it, and it was a gym jock party. And one of our new bars here has a full gym, so they were gonna have jockstrap, dodgeball, and all this stuff. And I guess everyone showed up as wearing their jock straps, and the owner freaked out and made everybody he had grabbed all these little like towels from the back and made everyone put towels over their backs. I was like, did you not look at the ad? It clearly said jock gym party. So everyone had to wear a towel around their backside so no one could see their butts. But we tried to do different things. They're not usually too successful here.
Yeah, I mean, the only time, let's see, going back to that whole thing about like people inappropriately touching people, for me, it's only happened once. Like, I'm grateful that it only happened once.
Yeah.
But the time it did happen, I wanted to slug this person. So like, I was sitting in, I was actually, it was at Parliament House. I was performing in the bear bar, like as I usually had, and I was sitting there like minding my own business in between like songs. They had like different performers. I was just sitting among the audience, like minding my own business. I had some drunk motherfucker literally be like, "I want to see you without your wig," and literally whips my wig off my head.
Yeah,
And
that's grounds for getting hit.
I'm thinking, I'm like, baby, you're lucky I'm in a good mood tonight. Because if not, I would be untying this platform shoe and it'd be going right upside your head.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm so desensitized to it. I'm so used to it. And it doesn't bother. I guess it doesn't bother me when people do it. But I'm an overly sexual person, so like if someone's grabbing my butt, I'm just like, eh. And it's like when my husband's around though, someone will grab my butt and he'll grab their arm, and real hard and be like, "Don't touch him." And everyone's always like, "Oh, it's okay. He's a porn star." And then my husband always says, "Are you paying him? Then don't fucking touch him." So,
Because
but
see, with you, it's almost like you'd almost have the same kind of like safety, quote unquote safety in a bar as like a trapper would.
yeah,
Because it's like I heard about that, and because I've interviewed somebody who's a trapper at like gay bars, and they're like, but my thing is like with that, it's like, how do you know who's a trapper versus who's a go-go? Because like, it's not
yeah,
like there's a way that you can tell, like, except for after you've already touched them, and then by that point,
it's already yeah. Even when I'm not go-going though, even if I'm just at the bar and someone walks by and does it, I'm like, I don't know. I just don't care. I guess. I mean, if it within reason, obviously, but I don't know. I'm just like, eh. Hope you enjoyed it. But
see, especially the way I dress now is like, because this is the thing, like, I'm a bigger bitch. I have like a fat ass. I don't pad and drag, so it's like whenever like my ass is out, like my actual ass is out. So
yeah,
like my thing is like I am usually thonged up, and then like on top of that, there's usually fishnets. So like if you're if you're really trying to like reach in there to go into my hole, first of all, you're probably gonna rip my fishnets, and I'm gonna make you pay for them. And like second of all, again, I'm singing live, so it's like if you try something, I will be because I will admit I'm that bitch who will be like, stop the music, what the fuck are you doing?
see me, I'm like, hey, if you have the courage to reach into someone's ass and touch it, like I'm always clean, but I can't imagine everyone else always is. So I'm like, enter at your own risk, I guess.
See, yeah, that's the thing where it's like, because what was it? I heard somebody say like that they got their ass eaten on stage, like literally just like pulled out, like full out. They like had somebody like in there like tonguing them. I'm like, first of all, I'm like, how did you let that happen?
I've let it happen. uh, you know, when you drink too much and you just kind of let things slide.
And like, second of all, that's brazen for the person doing it because
It's
it's
risky.
like,
It's definitely risky. You better know damn well that that's clean before you do it. That's awful.
although some people, all right, because like I had one guy. This is the thing that I don't get, especially with like guys who like want to hook up with you when you like tell them I'm expecting you to eat my ass before you fuck me, and they're like, as long as it's clean, and I'm like, you don't think I'm gonna fucking shower before we meet up? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? You think I was raised in a barn? Like,
Oh, you'd be
uh,
surprised. Don't.
I don't know. The only time I didn't was when I was specifically asked not to.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Some people are into it.
okay, whatever floats your boat, bitch. Like, yeah.
Funny.
So, what's the freakiest thing that you've been asked to do or you've done while shooting?
Oh, about shooting? Oh, I don't know. I always said I would never do piss play, like water sports.
Right.
But literally on my like second shoot, they wanted me to do piss play. And I'm just like, the guys, they took the water, like water pills, they all drank like 2 gallons of water. and I'm just like, whatever, I'm just gonna go for it. And then so I did it, and I was like, it's like someone was just pouring warm water on me. It didn't even smell, it didn't taste bad. I'm just like, this isn't that bad. I'm okay with it. Even though I said I would never do it. But now, like thinking about it, it's like that seems so mild now compared to some of the things I've seen and done. God, I've done like the 13 guy gangbangs where people are just like licking things out of holes and double penetration and I think the grossest thing I ever saw was this guy was leaking all over the floor, and we were in the dirtiest hotel, and this kid got on all fours and licked it up off the carpet, and I'm like, oh, that's too much even for me. And I wasn't thinking of it wasn't gross because of the body fluid. I was just thinking how old and dirty that carpet was.
Yeah.
So gross. I was like, oh man, that's rough, but I don't know. I did put my foot inside someone once on a Treasure Island video. But see, like that did nothing for me. That was just for like dramatic.
It was in the script, right?
It wasn't. It was kind of just do a bunch of fucked up shit to this kid. And he was open to anything, and it was like, I'm gonna give this a try. See how many hits we can turn. I think one of the hotter things I did a shoot with this guy, and it was Palm Springs. It's like 100 degrees. I was so sweaty, like dripping wet. My jockstrap was so wet. I'm not gonna say who the performer is because we don't get along anymore. But I like took off my jockstrap and wrung it out in his mouth, and I was like, that was actually kind of hot. So
see, my thing is the only thing where it's like I've obviously said no to stuff. Probably like the one thing where I have to like where I drew the line was somebody said like at one point they're like, "Can I fist you?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, I've done it.
It's like,
I've done it to people. I've never had it done to me, but I've done it to people.
my thing is like I am very very tight, so I'm like, I am the person who's like, this is how tight I am. Like literally, I'm the person who's like, if you take your dick out as you're fucking me and try and go to put it back in, you have to ease it back in because I tighten up really quickly. So
Yeah,
it's like,
I'm like that too. Just real fast. It's back,
yeah,
snaps right back. I get
that's
that.
what.
It's fisting's different. I don't know. I feel like you either have to really be into it or not. Like, like I said, I've tried it, but it doesn't do much for me. It's like fun to try, but I don't know.
And my thing is like, with that, like that being my line, there's some guys who like think like ass eating is literally just like the like craziest concept ever. I'm like,
That's like my favorite.
yeah, I'm like, this is my thing. I'm like, this is fucking vanilla to me. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some fucked up shit, but I don't know.
well, of course, because you're in. I've seen some fucked up shit. I haven't done it, but
The
I've seen.
shit I've seen has not been in porn. It's been like at parties and stuff, and it's like, oh damn, that's a lot. Like, have you ever seen like air enemas?
No.
So they pretty much just put their mouth on their asshole and blow air up their ass, and then like have them push it out on their like face and stuff. Like,
What was the craziest thing that I saw somebody do? Not like in person, but like on a porn. Oh, take a traffic cone. I'm like,
I've seen those. I've pretended to do it where you squat over it and make it this.
and my point with that, like seeing that, I wasn't like intentionally looking for it. I'm like, so what's a man gonna do? Like, if that's how much you need for pleasure, like, no man can compete with that. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's fun to watch.
and then like, and then through like interviewing former porn stars and all this stuff, I've learned about other stuff. I had who is it? I had on Greg McKeon. He was like asking me, he's like, "Do you know what sounding is?" I'm like, "No."
Oh, that's painful.
Like,
I love
like
Greg.
yeah.
That's I could never do sounding ever. No.
It's like I'm a normal ass person, bitch. You're gonna have to break this down for me. Like I've never.
Yeah. Oh. You looked up the videos though after that, didn't you?
No, I did not look up the videos after. I'm like, it sounded like weird enough to me. I'm like,
I had my dick pierced a long time ago. And you have to stick the tube down in there a little bit to pierce it. And that's pretty much what sounding is. And
yeah,
just that split second that it was in there, I'm like, fuck no. Nothing's going in that hole is not for going in. That is an exit only hole. I have
yeah.
other holes that are for exit and entrance.
Oh wait, so your dick's pierced now?
It's not. No, it was a long. I did it when I was like 23.
Oh,
I literally only kept it in for about a year. I hated it. I was so afraid it was going to get caught on stuff, and like get infected. I was just every time I had nervous about it, so I wanted it gone. I took it out, but I still have it's so embarrassing. I still have the hole. It won't close. So when I pee, it like drips out the little hole.
Ooh, yeah.
I always pee all over the front of me, and it's fun.
See, I don't know. I've never seen your dick personally because when I was watching Michael's porn for research before I did this, I never could make it to where like your dick was out. I usually like came before then. It's like
get out of here. Oh man.
This is my life, and it's like some people say like, yes, it's for I say for research purposes because it's like
for research purposes only. I do that too. I watch porn for about 6 hours a night, just trying to get like watching game films.
But see, this is when people say like, how could my this is a quote that I've said, like this is at least my view on everything. When people say like, oh, I would never watch a porn that like one of my friends is in, and I'm literally like, this is my view. I'm like, if you don't want to fuck your friends, then you have ugly friends. Like,
you know what I will say, when I am watching porn to get off, I do have trouble watching my friends. I don't know why. And I've had sex with all of them. Like Rocco Steele. Like Rocco Steele, everyone loves Rocco Steele. And I've had sex with Rocco Steele so many times. And I would gladly have sex with Rocco Steele anytime he wanted to. But when I'm watching porn, I feel weird doing it. I don't know why. Because I know him as a person, he just seems so nice, and it's just like I don't know. I don't know. I can't watch his porn. It's so weird to me. And I had the same thing when I used to be best friends with Billy Santoro, and it was the same thing. I couldn't watch his videos, and even now when they come up, I'm like, oh, it's Billy. I can't watch that. Even though I haven't talked to him in years, but I don't know. It's strange.
Well, see, my thing is, in terms of any of like my friends, they're never my first choice. So it's like,
yeah,
that's like the one thing where it's like, can I get off? Yes, but it's like, I'm not gonna like automatically go to their videos because it's like I know them, but it's like at some point I had to think about where it's like, bitch, you better stop interviewing porn stars if you like. I'm gonna have to like go all of a sudden like watch like Iraqi porn in the middle of like.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's my number one search, Middle Eastern men. And I 100% cannot watch my own porn. Oh my god, I hate it. Even like the trailers, I'm like, oh god, this is so cringy.
No, because you probably like think about it where it's like, oh, this is the part on camera was like this, and this happened behind the scenes.
No, I think of it
That
like one, I'm like, I hate the sound of my voice. I sound so stupid. And then I'll be like, oh my God, look at that angle. Like, oh, my arms look little. Or I'll be like, oh my God, I wasn't flexing. My stomach looks fat. And I'm just like, I just pick it apart. And I think like, then I'll get mad and be like, why was the director shooting me from that angle? I look so bad from that angle. And I hate it. I can't watch it. And then everyone else is like, you looked amazing in that video. I'm like, well, I don't know what you were watching because I hated every second of it. So, but I have like the worst body dysmorphia in the world. So,
that's why it's like, and the other point that you say, that's why like I will like binge on somebody like I'm about to interview because it's like, just in case we do become good friends, it's like, well, now I'm gonna like not be able to watch that person. Like,
yeah, it's different. It's I don't know. I guess I do, and I do have some friends where I'm like, I can like my best friend. I can watch his porn all day.
yeah,
But I mean, he doesn't. He's it's. I guess his is kind of dehumanized because he doesn't show his face, and he has like the monster dick that he fucks people with. So I'm like, I guess I can watch that. I don't think twice about that one, but I don't know. That it's just gonna maybe. I think it's the acting element. When there's acting involved and it's my friends, it's like I know that's not who they are, so it's hard to get turned on by that because I know. I guess when I have sex with them, that's not the way it is.
yeah. See, I try and shut my brain off because it's like,
Yeah. Oh
if
God.
I'm watching somebody that I know, I can kind of like try and shut my brain off because it's like, one of my friends has been out of the industry for like at least a year, but it's like, I knew it's like, damn, when he was filming that scene, I knew he was at a bad point, even though he's like happy go lucky, bubbly. That's why I try not to think about it because it's like,
Yeah. That's I guess I'm just bad at turning my brain off. I guess I overthink everything. But, yeah.
well, I mean, yeah, I can kind of. Do I? Well, I'm trying to think. When I get two in my, well, first of all, when I get two in my head, I can't get turned on. So it's
Oh
like,
yeah, that's the most common problem on porn shoots when people are trying to come. It's like they're so in their head, and then like they know they're taking long to do it, and then the sexiness is just gone. No one's getting turned on, and it takes forever. It's like you got to kind of do it quick, and you can't get in your own head because then it's game over.
I was actually like, before we went on, I was watching this old like clip from like the Tyra Banks show where she like had these like gay for pay performers on, and somebody's like, it's like, if anyone thinks that you go into porn for the what is it? What did they say, for like the romanticism or all of that, or like
Yeah,
because it's fun? It's like anyone who knows anything about fucking porn obviously knows that this is like, it's not
it,
like hot. Well, okay, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but
no, it is.
it's not like hot being on a shoot. Like,
Yeah, it's work, and it's like you got to get ready for it. You have to think the whole time about how your body's placed and the angles that the camera's getting, and you have to like almost like fuck sideways because you have to open your body up so the camera can see it. So it's not like you're not just. And then here's the thing with the new performers who do come in, they don't know that. They think they're just going
yeah,
hot guy, and they don't do anything right, and they're constantly getting critiqued by the cameraman, like, hey, I need you to open up, hey, I need you to do this, hey, less of this, and then it takes so much longer because they think they're just going to come in and have sex like a romantic scene. It's like it's not like that. You have to think of the whole time, where's the camera and how's this working. Now while that's happening, you can definitely have hot chemistry with your scene partner, which makes doing all that way easier and makes
yeah,
kissing more believable and makes everything more natural because you do have good chemistry with people and you are like I've gotten really into it. Like I did a 3-way not too long ago, like last year maybe. I was like, this is hot. I'm enjoying every second of it. And yeah, we had to keep stopping and cutting, but I'm like, I don't know, I don't care. We can do this all day. I'm enjoying it.
yeah.
But
It's like You're sitting there filming a scene. You have Shishi LaRue yelling at you in the corner. No, I'm kidding.
Nothing will
But
turn you off faster than no, you're doing it wrong. No, Shishi. Oh gosh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I've never watched like. Well, also the thing with like porn, it's like whatever. Like I don't know anybody my age who is watching like is paying for full porns. Like
I don't think anyone does.
that's why it's like what was that? I was interviewing somebody like who at one point shot with Helix and like did Helix Academy. I'm like, I'm very familiar with that scene. I'm like, because I definitely paid for that scene. I definitely didn't steal it from a porn site and download it illegally. Like, I definitely paid for it.
Yeah, because it was a good one. It's I don't know. I've subscribed to a couple people's OnlyFans, but I don't think I've ever paid for porn.
See, my thing is with OnlyFans, I subscribe for like a month. Like,
Yeah, I
no,
curiosity. I don't stay subscribed.
it's because like as I was explaining to somebody who started OnlyFans, I'm like, do you know how broke I would be if I subscribed to every person who's ever done an interview on my podcast who also does OnlyFans? I'd have no money.
They should send you a free subscription for doing this podcast.
I have gotten the like free subscriptions because I have a friend in Manchester who does it, and like,
Yeah. I give out a lot. I give most of my friends free subscriptions. I mean, I only charge $4.99 a month, so it's like whatever. I'll give out some subscriptions. I don't keep up with it as much as I should, so I'm not like overcharging anybody.
wow, $4.99, that's the cheapest I've heard of.
I'm
Like,
pretty bad at keeping up with it, so I don't like to overcharge. It's $9.99, but I always have it like 50% off.
yeah.
So I like right now. I don't think it's on sale. I think it's full $9.99, but I haven't put anything out in like a month. So, but I have stuff coming.
Well, actually, okay. So this actually leads me into my next question. So, which do you like doing more, filming for a studio or filming for OnlyFans?
I actually I hate filming OnlyFans. I hate I love to travel and I love to go to like gay cities and things and do gay shit. And I hate that it's become just every message I get. Want to film OnlyFans? Want to film OnlyFans? Want to film OnlyFans? Want to film? I don't. I don't want to film only. I don't want to spend my entire weekend trip away filming OnlyFans videos. I'll do like one or two, but I also don't want to be that asshole who's like, no, I don't want to film with you. It's because I'm very willing to film with almost anybody on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Like I'm not picky about who I sleep with. I don't have a specific like, oh, I only fuck twinks or oh, I only bought them for hung daddies. Like, no, I like to have sex with everybody, and I want to do them, but it's just I hate when my trips feel like work. Now, if I'm going to a city because I'm brought there to film porn, I am there for work, so
Right.
I don't mind the filming because that's what I'm there for. But like when I'm going to get away for the weekend and go to Miami, and just every other message is want to film OnlyFans, want to film OnlyFans. It's like I don't. I want to go out and drink, and then if we get drunk and we go back and fuck, you can turn the camera on.
See, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Like,
Yeah, I don't want to lose that enjoyment that I get out of sex part. And I feel like if it's just all work, I'll lose that enjoyment part. So
and also like to my friend who used to do porn and used to do OnlyFans, he basically quit because he's like, I want to focus on doing music. I don't want to be like sitting here trying to find like guys to like film with every night. He's like, I want to be out at like open mic nights performing. I'm like, I'd get that. Like,
yeah. So don't know. It's an interesting career. I'm getting to that point where I'm 40. It's starting to fizzle out a little bit, I think. Um, so I'm gonna just make the most of it for as long as I can, see how it goes. But I definitely just want to keep the. I want to still enjoy sex after all this is over, and not be like, oh, it's work.
Because you are basically like, at some point you get like over sexualized, so it's like, at some point you want to like take time. You can correct me if I'm wrong about this. You want to take time to like actually be seen as a person.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Which, I mean, I get what kind of. This is my thing when it comes to like dating, and why I feel like I'd have to date somebody who does like some form of entertainment, where like somebody who's like understanding enough to understand what I do. Where it's like, all the times I go out in drag to bars, so it's like, you have to understand, if you're going out with me, I'm gonna get people's attention, because again, I'm also 6'3", and it's
Yeah,
like, so it's like I walk in there in like fish. If I walk in like 6'5", 6'6", and it's
yeah,
like I'm in a wig, a bodysuit, fishnets, and heels, it's like, yeah, people are gonna pay attention to me. Like, I'm gonna have people like wanting to be like, "Ooh, yes, girl, work, honey," and like all of a sudden, like, just like get my attention as I'm walking down the street. I'm like, that's what I'm used to. It's like I have to be on the second I leave my hotel room.
yeah.
It's like, so having a bad day isn't really an option. And it's also, with that, it's like, if I make out with a backup dancer, that's not cheating on you.
Yeah,
If I'm like,
yeah, it's part of the show.
yeah, it's part of the show. It's like, if I'm getting simulated, getting fucked on stage, that's not cheating on you. It's like, I need someone who's gonna be that like open, and I feel like most guys wouldn't like that. And it's like,
It's very hard to find something. You're right. Another performer would probably be more likely um, to be okay with it. I'm lucky, and my husband is okay with everything that I do. At first, it was rough, but we worked through it. It's fine. He knows it's work and knows it's just for entertainment. So you just got to find the right person who's okay with it. But it's not easy to find. And I've known a lot of entertainers who have dated each other, and they just never seem to end well.
I also think, like, if you're dating entertainers, you want to date somebody who does the exact, I want to say the exact opposite of what you do. Like,
Yeah,
they can be like in music, but like,
not your genre, not your.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Because you can't.
like,
It's not. It would be unhealthy, I think, for a couple to be almost. I know it's work, but like you're in competition with each other almost.
yeah, because it's like my friends with benefits who wants to commit. Like, the thing is, he wants to be like a go-go boy, but he's also like into rap, and I'm like, well, I do more like pop music. Like, I may lay down like a rap verse on like a song, but it's like, I'm not trying to be a rapper. So it's like, that's where like you and I can get along. And it's like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna sit there and uplift you, you're gonna sit here and uplift me. It's like that you said, that thing about competition, where it's like,
Yeah,
if I were to date another drag queen,
it's like
I
he got booked and you didn't. It's
yeah,
not a relationship. It's not. It's and you can be as happy. You could say I'm going to be as happy as I want for her, or whatever. But it's like there's still those feelings there. Like I had a best friend. We started porn at the same time, and
yeah,
I mean he just had a very different looking aesthetic, and he was getting booked for very specific porn, whereas I was kind of new and getting booked for all the mainstream stuff. And it's like he like couldn't be happy for me. And it's like this isn't a very good friendship if you can't be happy for me getting a lot of work because you're not. And it was just like a
right.
relationship. That was a friendship. There was a strain on it. So like two queens, I don't know how two queens could date. I feel like that would be so hard.
See, my thing is what I'd be afraid of. So, like, my first ex, who like we dated for a year, it's like they wanted to start doing drag, and then like all of a sudden, I got a note with like a key in the door. We were living together at this point. Where like they had basically broke down the whole relationship, and towards the end, they basically told me they're like, "I'm transitioning." So it's like that's what I'd be afraid of now, because it's like because when she wanted to be a drag queen, I was all for that. It's like I literally she went out and drag one time. I let her borrow one of my wigs. Like I'm all for that because she also was like a lip sync queen versus like as my thing is I sing live. So it's like if I do like the polar opposite, but it's like if you're a singing queen, I'm a singing queen. That's where that point of it's like
That'd be tough. Yeah.
that wouldn't work. No, because it's like
Yep. I totally 100% agree.
but it's like yes. that led when we broke up, that led to a tragic relationship where I ended up so I've been primarily with black guys.
Hmm.
Again, another reason to move to Detroit. It's, it's like
Yep.
it's like so I literally dated this white guy. So the one time I dated a white guy turned out to be racist, and like as we were breaking up, they screamed in my apartment because they broke up at my place. So like all you ever want is that N-word dick.
Ugh.
And I'm thinking, bitch. First of all, my first thought was I'm like, can somebody shoot this motherfucker? Like it's like listen, I lived in the hood, I'll be like, look, it was an accident. He ran into his bullet. Like it's wasn't his fault.
Man.
But as I say, if you're like an evil, horrible person, karma's a bitch will come back to you because a month after he left me, he got HIV. So I'm like,
Karma catches up.
so it's like, I mean, granted, you're married, but I'm one of those people who's like, when some people are like, I'm so upset to be single. I wish somebody would come with me. I need a man. I'm like, girl, that's why nobody wants to fucking date you.
Yeah, you gotta be somewhat independent. It's the ones who try too hard too that usually are the ones who struggle to find them. So I would say stop looking and it'll find you.
That's why it's like my friends with benefits, we just started having sex. We've been having sex for 6 years. It's like we like each other, but it's like
Then you get to the point that do you want to cross that line and ruin what a good thing when you have it?
well, no, it's like I think we'd work great. The problem is he knows that I want to move to Detroit and he doesn't want to
Yeah.
move to Detroit. He wants to move to Orlando. And I'm thinking, girl, you're gonna like that for about a year.
You're like, I did that already. I don't want to do that again.
No, I'm not going back to Orlando, please. Like, and it's like literally, as I said, like you pointed out, Southern Nights, Savoy, Stiffies. Those are the 3 bars in Orlando. That's it.
Yep.
And somebody says like you could do the theme parks, Universal, Disney, SeaWorld. You're gonna get bored.
I wouldn't get bored. I could do Disney every day.
You say that now, like
I know. I don't know. I think I could. I love it.
it's well, my thing was I worked for a shitty boss when I was in Orlando, so it's like I never had any time off. So it's like
Yeah, you can't do.
it's like I would be working 6 days a week, and I'm like, do I want to waste my one day off going to Disney? Not
Yeah.
really. I mean, I did it a couple times, but it's like,
Yeah, I get it.
okay. So, what's your relationship to drugs and alcohol?
Non-existent with drugs. I don't do drugs at all. I don't like them. Obviously, I've tried them, but It's just not for me. It's I tend to seem to have bad side effects. Like I did an edible and I like got paranoid and freaked out. And I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I'm not a I don't do any drugs. I mean, unless we count steroids, but those don't count because those don't really alter your mind in the moment, maybe long term. But alcohol, I love to drink. I'm
Yeah,
a fish. I go out like
it's
for
like a it's like how Trimex doesn't count, even though it's a drug. It's like
yeah. I see. I hate Trimix. I don't like it. I don't even like. I hate Viagra too. Like I don't take those kinds of things. I hate the way it makes my sinuses close and my face turn red. I'm not a fan. So just give me some vodka Red Bull and I'm a happy man.
see, the thing is, before I answer this question, the thing with Trimex, and it's like when I hear people like that, it's like I get you needing to be hard, but it's like that to me seems like insane because it's like you do one wrong move, yo ass is in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like,
For porn, it's definitely has come in handy. I've done it to
right,
do it, but it comes in handy. But like I would never just use it for recreationally, for fun at like a bathhouse. I'm like I don't. If you can't get hard on your own when you're trying to, like porn, I get going soft because you're at it for a long time, and it
right,
doesn't get it's not as sexy. But if you're like at a bathhouse trying to fuck, like, you should already be turned on. What do you need Trimix for? But
you know.
I don't like it.
See, my thing with that is the other thing I don't get is like, granted, I've been around guys who've done them. I don't get poppers. Like, I've just never been
Yeah,
the
I'm not.
person who's like, I've never had any interest in it. I had a guy like about a month ago. He's like, or about 2 months ago. He's like, do you know what these are? I'm like, yeah. Why do you think I'm not gonna do them with you?
Yeah,
Like
I get it.
I'm good having sex. I don't need to like snort VHS cleaner like all of a sudden like
Right?
be in this. And like the thing was when he was doing that, the thing that like drove me crazy, and it's why I've finally realized I don't like hooking up is because like he had almost a 10-inch dick, and like every time he was doing a hit, he was taking his dick out.
Yeah. You're
I'm
like,
like,
leave it in.
bitch,
Leave it in.
yeah, it's like, bitch, leave it in, leave it the fuck in, like do your hit and keep going. Like
Yeah.
it's like total mess. So in terms of for me, drugs, the only thing I've been quote unquote addicted to, so like I have bone spurs in the heels of both of my feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Pain pills.
the the only thing it was legal. I was like before I got on health insurance, they're better now, but like before I got on health insurance and I was working a job where I was on my feet like 8-12 hours a day, I was taking, as I predicted, 18 to 24 ibuprofen a day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I gotta stop this. Like, once I
Yeah.
got on health insurance, I'm like, this shit is literally gonna fuck up my organs. Like,
Out of your kidneys.
yeah, it's like, so then I step back. And alcohol, I'm not completely sober, but I don't drink when I perform anymore.
Yeah. See, I have
Yeah.
to.
You're go-go dancing.
Yeah.
I understand why you have to be fucked up to go do go-go dancing. As I
Yep.
pointed out in every video, motherfuckers don't know how to treat people. That's why, like,
Yeah. Singing, you got to have your wits about you, and your voice has to be. Yeah.
yeah, but like my thing was, so it was a night where I got a night where I was handed drink after drink after drink after drink. People were just like buying me shit. And then I had to get in my car and I had to drive from Lake Worth to my hometown, which is about like an hour and 5 minutes. And then about 45 minutes into the drive, I got pulled over by a cop.
Ugh.
And luckily, my dad came and saved my ass. Otherwise, I would have gotten a DUI. So that pretty much
Scared you. Yeah.
stopped me from drinking when I was performing. And also, as we pointed out, as a singer, I mean, alcohol is good to like loosen you up, but in terms of like being around the bar, but it's like as someone who's singing, alcohol dries out your throat, so
Yep.
it's not necessarily like the best thing to be doing right before you're supposed to be singing or while you're in the middle of like doing a bunch of numbers. So it's like being sober has actually kind of helped me. So like there was one event where like as I said, the drag queens around here have like shit talked my drag. So I showed up to an event out of drag, and like one of the drag queens who has shit talked my drag was literally drunk off her ass and she was hitting on me.
Yeah.
She didn't know who I was, and
Uh,
like it's like if part of me wanted to be like, bitch, you fucking know who I am.
yeah.
But I didn't. I let her
Let her make a fool of herself.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. And she was on the microphone doing it too. So I'm like, yeah, keep on.
How funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
And okay, so where am I? Oh, okay. So what are your thoughts on how the LGBT community is being treated today?
Oh gosh. You know what? I probably have an unpopular opinion on this. Um, I guess when it comes to like drag queen, there's so much stuff about the library readings and all that stuff, and it's like, I guess my opinion is the drag queens are trying to make money, and all these people, these backwards people, are getting mad. Like, why are these drag queens reading at schools and all this shit? And it's just, if you have a problem with it, that's fine. Like, that's your right, I guess, to have a problem with it. But don't don't get mad at the drag queens. If that's your problem, get mad at the library who booked them if that's who your issue is with. But don't get mad at the queens who are just trying to make money. Like, that's what I guess where I'm tired of taking the LGBTQ getting blamed for pretty much things that straight people are causing. Does that make sense?
I totally get where you're coming from. It's
Like,
like
I don't want to word it the wrong way, but it's like, why are they being blamed? They're just their a job was offered and they took the job. So why are you blaming them for it? And it's just like, I don't know. People just need to mind their own damn business. It's not hurting you. No, it's not corrupting kids. Give me a fucking break.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. You live in a very tumultuous state for that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. I don't see that here. We don't have that issue. I think for the most part, the queens feel comfortable. We have drag brunches all the time in the day, library readings. My one friend Sasha does readings for kids all the time. I've never heard of any issues. So I think it's wrong the way people get treated, but it's just the way, unfortunately, just the world we live in.
It's also like to that point of they're trying to attack this as saying like this is how all drag queens are. It's like no, like let's be clear. Like you're gonna compare a drag queen who would read to kids to like me. I have zero fucking interest in reading any books to your kids.
Yeah,
Like
that's why if you're gonna do it, like, and like there needs to be some, if it is something you want to do and you want to pursue it, there should be some responsibility on your part. Like the drag queen in the thong with the big fake boobs and her nipples are showing probably shouldn't be reading to children. Okay,
right.
you want to put on a nice gown or dress and like still be you, but it, you need to edit yourself a little bit if you're going to be reading for children. You could still be yourself without being overly sexualized, you know. But again, if people are having a problem with it, again, you got to put some responsibility on the parent as well. Like, why is all the fall going on the queens?
I mean, yeah, that's you literally can't put it any easier than that because
Yeah,
it's like first of all, the library wouldn't have booked them if somebody didn't have
and
interest in it.
if a parent wants their kid to see it, it is their right for their kid to see it. And if you have a
Yeah.
problem with seeing it, that's fine. Don't take your kids to it. But the responsibility should solely fall on the parents. If their parents brought them to a drag show, they don't care that their kids are seeing a drag queen, so it should be okay. And if you don't like it, tough. Don't let your kid come. But
Yeah, it's also like that thing of like there's a time and place for everything. It's like literally, I don't want to hear that from straight people because it's like last time I checked, y'all didn't have a problem with Hooters
yeah, well,
being out there.
my example is like in Florida they wanted to ban drag in all public places, and the
Yep.
example of is like Palace Bar in Miami. Like,
Yes.
so you can't perform out on the street. And if you're, I'm sorry, if you're going to take your kids down to South Beach, you should be well aware of what you're going to see. You might see drag queens. You're probably going to see a bunch of big fake boob Brazilian women in thongs as well. Like,
Yeah.
there's not much of a difference there. Um, you're taking them to a place that's known for partying and different behavior. Now, if
Yeah.
you're, I don't know, if you're at, can't even think of I can't think of an example. A place that's not as common to see a drag queen or a woman in a bikini or something like that, then yeah, you might be like, hey, that doesn't seem like the right place. But like trying to ban like Nashville banning their drag bus ride. That's what Nashville's for, is a party city. It's like, get
Yeah.
over, just let
Yeah.
people, you know.
Yeah. I will say this before I get to the last question. Literally, I will say this Palace is the only redeemable thing about South Beach, in my opinion. So it's like, y'all better try not fucking shut down Palace. Because it's like,
I love Palace.
I know I went there, what was it? I think in October for the first time. And then I told my best friend, I'm like, okay, we need to go down to South Beach, or like, you need to come see this. It's like, granted, is it a little expensive? Yes. Is it completely worth it? Absolutely.
I think so. Yeah, it's a great bar.
Yes. And what's the biggest misconception about you?
I think the biggest misconception, people think I'm stupid. It's I have my voice sounds dumb. And the number one things people say, like I get, you get hate online from people. Almost everyone says the same thing, like this dumb idiot jock, like just a big oaf, stupid. I'm like, I have a master's degree in Latin. I was a high school teacher for 10 years. And people just think I'm just this big idiot, this big sex dummy. And it kind of bothers me. And you know what? Another, I guess along the same lines, because you asked about drugs. A lot of people think I
Yeah.
do, because I do. I have an eye condition where my eyes move.
Yeah.
It's a sign that someone does drugs. And I was born with it. But everybody thinks, oh, he's just a druggy, big dumb druggy idiot. And it's like none of those things are true. And it's, I don't know. It bothers me when people think I'm dumb.
I mean, I would get that. First of all, is as you pointed out, like theoretically you have to be smart to be a teacher
Yeah,
in most states. I would say you don't have to be smart to be a teacher in Florida, mainly because they're not teaching people anything.
yeah. I taught Latin, which isn't the
Yeah.
easiest of languages to learn. Um, and I taught ancient Greek and Roman and Greek history.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, I have my master's degree. I did good on my ACTs and SATs. Everyone gets mad at, I can't play trivia games because I get everything right.
Yeah.
Everyone gets mad at me. I guess I come off as looking mean and not educated. So it's a look. I kind of gave myself that look, but once you know me, you know that's not who I am. So
And then porn, like first of all, it's like, yeah, it's like, wow, the person in the porn doesn't sound intelligent. He's
yeah,
literally reading a fucking script.
the
Like,
worst scripts in the world too.
yeah, and it's not like they're getting like someone who's like directed that's like written a script with like Steven Spielberg. They're not getting that kind of person to write fucking porn. Like,
Yeah, I remember I did one where It was me and another guy, and I was cast as a doctor, and the other guy was cast as the athlete, like a jock, soccer player. And when we got to the shoot, we were doing our lines, and the director's like, "Ugh, you're just not believable as a doctor. I think we should switch the roles, and he should be the doctor, and you should be the jock." And I'm just like, okay, switch it. I guess I'm not. I don't look smart enough to be a doctor, so I guess it's just the look I have. That I guess that's fine.
Let's see. There are two for me. One of them is that I'm shady. I wouldn't agree with that. I would say I'm very opinionated because, and a lot of people say, like, I will say this: I am all for supporting queer entertainers who are amazing at doing what they do.
Yeah.
But if you suck, I'm gonna be the bitch to tell you that you suck. Like,
that's also part of being a queen is being shady. Like, I think shady's a good thing. I love the word. I wish I was shadier. I'm not shady at all.
yeah, see, but as I said, like, opinionated. I'm like, there's there's a 32-year-old rapper that I know out in LA who's like a rapper and go-go dancer, and like all of his songs are about like twerking and like getting fucked. And I'm like, you're 32 years old and you haven't had a single fucking experience other than this.
Yeah.
You put out like 2 EPs. Like, when are we gonna get the substantive music? Now, granted, not every song has to be substantive, but
Yeah.
it's like, can we get, I don't know, 1, maybe 2?
Something about you. Well, that's the LA life, though. So that's pretty much all they have.
That's sad.
But I don't think being opinionated is a bad thing. I wish I could be more opinionated. I always censor myself on what I should say, shouldn't say. So my husband is very outspoken and very opinionated. So, and I think it's a great quality because he says the things I don't say. So I think that's a good quality. If someone says you're opinionated, you should say thank you.
Yeah. I'm never mad about it. And the other one that I've been told is that I'm intimidating, which...
Oh, I have the best comeback for you. Okay, listen, because you're going to use this. Because people always think I'm intimidating. I'm not intimidating. You are intimidated by me. Don't blame me for your insecurities.
Right. And it's like, again, this is at least in my view, it's like, as a drag queen musician who tried to like survive in the heterosexual open mic scene, I had to be a little bit intimidating because it's like, I had to sit here and be like, the person's like, look, I don't give a fuck if you all like me or not. I'm gonna keep doing what I do.
But see, that's not intimidating. That's confident. That's you being confident and you being strong, and then other people being intimidated by it. But you're not. I don't think you're purposely trying to intimidate anyone, are you?
No. My thing is like, as again, you probably know this. You're the same height as I am. It's like, we're not like, there's 6'3" that looks like a twig, and then there's 6'3" that's like
a monster.
that's like more like either like jacked or like, or just like,
yeah, we have a large presence.
Yeah, it's like, I can't help it. It's like, and also it's like, when I'm on stage, it's like, yes, that person might be quote unquote intimidating in front of you. If I delivered my songs in a, well, first of all, if I delivered some of my songs in a calmer tone, you wouldn't get the message of the song.
Yeah.
But it's like, in terms of like, can I calm down? That's what I say is the greatest thing about me doing this album. It's like, I show everything. I show the like, one quote unquote intimidating side. I show the insecure side. I show the sad side. I show like all these different emotions because it's like I want you to understand like when you go from like the beginning to the end, at the end where it's like you feel like you end up feeling like kind of you hear me being sad and being like basically so the last song I wrote for the album was called I'm Sorry, and it's basically an apology to my fans, my dad, and my family, like my sister. It's like I had to write it because I wanted to say like I'm sorry that I almost died. Like
Yeah.
it's like I understand that like everyone says like suicide is I hate when people say suicide is not the answer. It's like I never blame people for being suicidal or for people who's like have been suicidal before. It's like or
Hmm.
have like died from committing suicide. It's like they didn't have somebody to reach out to, or
Yeah,
if
the support system.
or yeah, they think that they didn't. It's like my thing is I had my sister because like the second time I was able to like talk myself out of it, but the first time I needed help. Like
Yeah.
it's like I reached out to my sister because like I knew that she would talk me down because I was like so like lost up in my head where it's like now when I get lost up in my head, I feel like a sense of security.
Yeah.
Well, I actually know I don't get lost in my head, but it's like when I am, it's like once I like get into a song, it's like I'll get to put it out. And some people say like therapy is the answer, go see a therapist. My response is I feel like if a therapist is gonna do what I'm doing in my songs, it's like to me it's a lot like grittier and like prettier when I like put it in a song versus like if I just talk to some asshole for an hour where it's like
Yeah, it's just expressing yourself in a different way.
yeah, it's like I tell them my problems. It's like, does that really do anything? No.
Yeah.
It's
For,
just
well, for each, it's different for each person. If you found
yeah,
the right way to express yourself, that's awesome.
yeah. And with that, it was great getting to meet you.
You too. Thank you so much for having me and talking with me. I'm excited to hear
Oh, of
your.
course. Sorry. Oh, you cut out there. What?
I said I'm excited to hear your music, and then
Yeah.
I'll probably have to come up to Detroit and perform with you.
Yes, as I say, like,
I'll get you the hookup at the clubs up there.
because this is my thing, and like, I hate to say this because like you don't want to sound egotistical when you say this, but it's like, at least my view is I feel like this is again not egotistical. I feel like this is confident. Talent's never been the thing that stopped me, in my opinion.
Hmm.
It's been the fact of like some people just don't want to have like their clicks. But again, it's like Derek pointed out, and probably like Detroit's not really, at least from what I've heard of Detroit. Detroit's not like clicky like that.
No, it's a big enough city. It's Midwestern, friendly girls, friendly people, friendly gays. I think you'll like it in the summer.
Yes, yes. As I say, I know summer needs to come
It's coming. It's been a little warmer here, so
because it's like my thing is they always say like don't act on impulse because it's like my thing is I want to quit my job tomorrow. This always feel like the thing
yeah,
when
it
I
sounds
go
like
and I'm
you.
like I want to
Yeah,
quit my job tomorrow and just leave.
yeah.
But everything will happen in time. This is shit I have to tell myself to not try and rush
Well, sometimes an impulse
into
change is
decisions.
good. So my doing porn was an impulse change, and it was like the best decision I ever made. So
I'm oh wow, real well yeah.
so you never know.
And I'm like the thing is at my job, they're like people are like, I wonder if we're gonna have I wonder because they like slowly but surely like have fired a bunch of people recently. They're like, I wonder if my job's gonna go, and I'm thinking, I'm like, listen, if I got fired earlier, they'll just like light a fire in my ass.
That would be the sign that you needed to go. So,
but as I said, time will tell. And with that being said, this is Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and I hope you've enjoyed.
bye, guys.